Hey everybody, welcome to the Mana League. I'm John as always, and it's time for another Crack-A-Pack Tuesday. We've got another shiny little pack of shadows over Innistrad here. You've all drafted the format, hopefully in paper at your local game stores, and of course this weekend we will all get to do it on Magic Online with the lovely pre-release leagues that they have now, along with drafts, and then of course the following Monday or Tuesday, I don't remember, they'll be in release and we'll all be able to play them. But we're going to open this pack here, we're going to see what's in it, and we're going to figure out what we would take pack one, pick one if this was a draft. Up first, we have Furtive Homunculus. Furtive Homunculus is 1 and a blue for a creature Homunculus, 2/1, and it has Skulk. And that's about all there is. Now, Skulk, as we've all figured out, is pretty darn solid. It's a little bit better on 1-power creatures, as strange as that sounds to say that a 1-power creature is good. Really, I'm just talking about Farbog Revenant. But yeah, the fact that this can't be blocked by 3-power creatures or bigger is fantastic. This thing can get through for quite a bit of damage. And it is the traditional 2-drop in blue 2/1, which we're used to. It's never great. It's often not even good, but Skulk definitely does make it a little bit better in the later game. So I'm not too unhappy to play a Furtive Homunculus. I don't want to play many of them. One's probably enough, and I would go for 0. So certainly not a first pick, but I think it is a playable card nonetheless. Next up, we have Angelic Purge. Angelic Purge is 2 and a white for a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast Angelic Purge, sacrifice a permanent. Any permanent. Land, token, clue, whatever you want. Exile target artifact, creature, or enchantment. Just straight up blow it up. This is fantastic removal. Yeah, you have to sacrifice something, but you can sacrifice anything. If you're in a position that you don't have permanents on the board, then you're not even playing a game of Magic. Late in the game, you can sack a land that you don't need anymore. You can sack a clue token. You can sack some creature that's never going to give you any benefit, and it's going to turn it into a removal spell, probably on a creature, but maybe even on an artifact or enchantment. That's a really big problem. I love Angelic Purge. I think it is probably first pickable, or maybe just ever so slightly below. If it's a weak pack, I think it's first pickable for sure, and definitely always playable. You don't want to get too many, though, because you don't want to be sacking a ton of permanents. So you know, don't load up on these, but the first one, I think, is always main deckable. Next up, we have Hound of the Farbogs. Hound of the Farbogs is 4 and a black for a creature zombie hound, 5/3. It has Delirium, and it has Menace, as long as you have Delirium. Yeah, Geyserfield Stalker wasn't very good in Oath or Battle, or where was it? I think it was in Battle. And this one's not that good either. A really big powered creature with low toughness in black that has Menace sometimes just never really seems to get there. If this was a 5/4, I might play it, but 3 is kind of the danger zone in this set. There is an awful lot of 3-power things, so Hound of the Farbogs, not first pickable, not even terribly main deckable in my opinion. Next up, we have Shard of Broken Glass, 1 single mana for an artifact equipment. The equipped creature gets +1/+0. Whenever equipped creature attacks, you may put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard, and it has an equip cost of 1. It's nice, cheap equipment. I would maybe consider playing it if I had an Abyssinian Missionaries. I wouldn't want to. I'd feel really bad that I didn't get a neglected heirloom or really anything other than this, but I would play it in that situation. Otherwise, I'm not a big fan of it, even for enabling Delirium or anything like that. I just don't really care for this card. There's so many better ways to get things into your graveyard that this just doesn't seem like it. If it was +1/+1, maybe, but even then it would still be iffy. Not first pickable, and I don't really think it's main deckable. Next up, we have Gone Missing. Gone Missing is 4 and a blue for a sorcery. Put target permanent on top of its owner's library, and you also get to investigate. I love bounce. I love bouncing things to the library even more. I'd prefer if it was instant speed, of course, and I'd prefer if it was 1 less mana, but we do get that investigate. We do get that clue token. I guess we have to pay for the tax for that. But you guys know that I often prefer those clue tokens to be free. I prefer the normal cost, and this normally would be 3 and a blue. So we are definitely paying a full mana for that clue token. But this is still playable. This is still playable in your control-y, bounce, late game kind of blue-black decks. So I don't think I'd ever first pick it, but I definitely do like it. I even have a slight personal slant towards bounce spells and Gone Missing, so I think I actually like it a little bit more than I probably should. But not first pickable, I don't think. Next up, we have Byway Courier. Byway Courier is 2 and a green for a 3/2 creature human scout. It says when Byway Courier dies, investigate. And that's it. This is totally fine. A 3-2 for 3 is fine. You know, it's not the best stats. We'd prefer 3-3, but the fact that you get a clue token when it dies is just totally fine. And of course, there's plenty of green-based decks that want to be getting a bunch of clue tokens, so this is totally viable. It's not remotely first pickable, but it's always playable, so... Next up, we have Grotesque Mutation. Grotesque Mutation is 1 and a black for an instant. Target creature gets +3/+1 and gains lifelink until end of turn. Very solid combat trick. I love this thing, especially combined with Uncaged Fury, but it's not first pickable. I'd always play the first one in probably any black deck except for a full-on control deck. But if I'm running creatures and if I plan on attacking with those creatures more than a couple times, I'll probably play the first Grotesque Mutation, but I'm never going to first pick it. Next up, we have Structural Distortion. Structural Distortion is 3 and a red for a sorcery. Exile target artifact or land. Structural Distortion deals 2 damage to that permanent's controller. Nope, 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 nope. You don't want to play this. There's no artifacts that you should ever be super scared of that you want to play this. There's no lands that you should be super scared of, minus maybe Westvale Abbey. But even then, there's so many better ways to beat Westvale Abbey, namely being faster than your opponent, or making sure they just don't ever have 5 creatures. There's so many ways to go about it besides putting in a really bad spell into your deck. Never main deck it, almost never sideboard it, and certainly don't first pick it. Next up, we have Open the Armory. Open the Armory is 1 and a white for a sorcery. Search your library for an aura or equipment card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. There are no auras or equipment cards that would ever make me play this card. If it was an instant, still wouldn't. If it was an instant and a single mana, still wouldn't for anything in this set. You should not be taking this card. You should not be playing this card. Certainly not first picking it. Yeah, you can think that this is a second copy of your Invocation of Saint Traft, but there's going to be a lot of times where it's not because you've already drawn the Invocation, and this becomes literally a dead card. It does nothing for you. Yeah, don't play this card. Don't take this card. Next up, we have Ongoing Investigation. Ongoing Investigation is 1 and a blue for an enchantment. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control deals combat damage to a player, investigate. Which, keep in mind, that's not per creature. It's whenever 1 to infinity creatures deal 1 to infinity damage to your opponent, you get 1 investigate. It's not per creature or anything crazy like that. You can also pay 1 and a green, exile a creature card from your graveyard, investigate, and you gain 2 life. This is obviously meant to enable a clue-based deck to happen. I don't know if it will. I'm excited to see it happen, but the fact that it is limited to just 1 investigate per turn, regardless of how many times you do damage, I don't see it happening outside of Constructed, where you could, play 4 copies of this. Limited, if you get 4 copies of this, something was really strange with your pack distribution. I don't think you should first pick it and try to go into that deck, because I'm not confident that deck is really a thing. You could try playing it if you are heavy clues, but I don't think you should ever first pick it. Whoops. Spun all the cards around, and now I know what the double-faced card is. We have Inner Struggle. Inner Struggle is 3 and a red for an instant. Target creature deals damage to itself equal to its power, also known as Stop Punching Yourself. I love Inner Struggle. Inner Struggle is solid removal. It doesn't kill the 2/4s. It doesn't kill the 3/4s. It doesn't kill, a number of things that have more toughness than they do power. But it kills a lot of stuff. And those things that have higher toughness, they can be killed post-combat if they took some damage with Inner Struggle. I really like this. I think it is absolutely first pickable and always includable, and even good in multiples. I would play as many of these as I can get. Love Inner Struggle. Our rare is Silver Fur Partisan. Silver Fur Partisan is 2 and a green for a creature wolf warrior. It's a 2/2, it's got trample, and whenever a wolf or werewolf you control becomes the target of an instant or sorcery spell, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield. This guy's fine. He is a 3-mana 2/2, which means that, you're already overpaying a little bit. But the ability is nifty-ish. Now, you know my usual complaint, you don't run that many instants or sorceries, so you're not going to be triggering this too often and getting too many 2/2 wolves. Yes, it does count if your opponent uses removal on Silver Fur Partisan or another wolf, but it's not like they're going to not know that you're going to get wolves, so they're going to play those removal spells appropriately, probably hitting Partisan first before anything else, and you're not going to, just be flooded in 2/2s when your opponent knows that's going to happen. Thinking that's going to happen is definitely a case of best case scenario mentality. This is still a fine card, and I think the first pick is a possible place to take it, to go heavy into wolves and werewolves, and I think it is good. I'm not 100% sold on it being amazing. Just like Zada, we all had amazing dreams of going off with her every single time we opened her, and then of course, people very rarely were able to do anything with her. I think Silver Fur Partisan is going to be the same way, even though it counts your opponent's spells, but it's not like they don't know that's going to happen, so they are going to be very careful with that. So Silver Partisan, I think it's first pickable, but I don't know exactly. I'd have to play with it some more. Our flip card, as I already saw, is Skin Invasion. Skin Invasion is a single red for an enchantment aura. Enchanted creature attacks each combat if able. When enchanted creature dies, return Skin Invasion to the battlefield transformed under your control. And I saw another flip card back there, which you all saw as well. Anyways, it becomes a creature insect horror called Skin Shredder. It's a 3/4, just a vanilla 3/4. So this, of course, was a big controversy in the set review. I'm not totally sold on this. I don't think it's that amazing. Everybody says, but you can play it on turn 1 on their 1/1 and then kill it next turn, and that's amazing. But several things have to go right there. Your opponent has to be playing a 1/1. They have to draw it and play it on turn 1. You have to draw this and play it on turn 1. You then have to draw something that can kill that 1/1 and play it on turn 2. And they have to be able to, not do anything to save their creature. If all of those things come together, then yeah, you get a 3/4 on turn 2 or turn 3 or whatever it would end up being. But that's not that exciting. That's one turn early. Oath of the Gatewatch, we were getting a 3/4 trample on turn 4 with Vestige of Emrakul. Now, yes, you get to kill their 1/1, which would not have mattered in any way, shape, or form past turn 3 or turn 4 anyways. And Skin Invasion just gets so much worse in the late game. In the late game, it's removal, quote unquote, for a tiny creature if you have a way of dealing with it. There's just so much that has to go right for this card to be as amazing as people think it is. I think it's fine. And I'm not going to not play it. I just don't think I would ever first pick it. I think I would take this much more close to the middle of the pack, just because I think the average case for this is somewhat, average. I'm not totally sold on it. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on it, though, because I could be wrong, but I think a lot of people are really falling into best case scenario mentality with Skin Invasion. Our rare, which I saw when I flipped Skin Invasion, is Gyre Reach Bandit, or our second rare, rather. 2 and a red for a creature, human, rogue, werewolf at rare. It's a 3/2, it has haste, and of course it has the werewolf flip ability. It flips and becomes Vilden Pack Alpha, which is a creature werewolf 4/3. Whenever a werewolf enters the battlefield under your control, you may transform it. And then, of course, it has the werewolf flip back ability. I quite like Gyre Reach Bandit. She is a 3/2 for 3, which is fine, as we talked about with the previous 3/2 Byway Courier. Yeah, Byway Courier. It's got haste, which makes it even better, so that makes it a fantastic 3-drop. And if it flips, all of our werewolves get to enter on their better side. I don't believe any werewolves that you really want to keep on their main side. All of their flip sides are almost always better. There's maybe a couple that have an activated ability that maybe you really want to use on their human side, but otherwise, being able to skip that transform phase and have them enter already transformed is just fantastic. I would totally consider first picking this and then just going heavy into the red-green werewolves deck. So yeah, I'm super interested in it. So we are looking at Gyre Reach Bandit. We are looking at, I think, Innistrad. Silver Fur Partisan as well. Angelic Purge and Skin Invasion get honorable mentions, but I don't think they're quite as powerful as these 3 cards here. Ultimately, I think we do need to take a creature here just because they are so decent. So I think Innistrad will get the cut, and we're looking at 2 wolves. Unfortunately, if we pass one of them, we're probably almost definitely not getting the other back. I think I do have to go with the Gyre Reach Bandit, just because if you do build around it, I think it's ultimately far more powerful than the Silver Fur Partisan. The Silver Fur Partisan, of course, will get you maybe a wolf or two. This could do so much better if you draft a whole bunch of werewolves. But definitely let me know what you would have taken. Would you have taken the Bandit or the Partisan or the Innistrad Skin Invasion? Let me know in the comments down below, as well as clicking that little eye in the top right-hand corner that should have expanded and asked you what's your pick. But as always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me on Twitter at TheManaLeak. That's L-E-E-K, like the vegetable, not the card. And you can also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/TheManaLeak. You've already found me here on YouTube. You've got that comment section down below, so please make use of that. As well, if you haven't yet subscribed, you should. There's a button below each video. There's one in the outro of each video, and that'll keep you up to date on all the latest videos as they show up. But as always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, see y'all next time.